In progress.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, Miss Rusty. Boom, Miss Rusty. Boom, Miss Rusty. Boom, Miss Rusty. Well, I'm going to find a spot where that works. And then I'm going to look back at these videos, but I probably won't. So anyway, it is Monday morning. Welcome to the Public Access Podcast here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. I'm your host, Rusty Diamond. If you haven't heard me before, I guess I have to introduce myself. So yeah, if you haven't heard me, I'm Rusty Diamond. And you know what? I'm just going to get right into it because it's Monday and I want to get started on this because it's Monday. And Monday, you got to go, because I got 4 podcasts today. Well, 3 actually now. I had one, but it didn't happen this morning. So 3. So we're going because I want to go and I want to get to meet people. And I want to bring on special guests. And I'm going to bring on a special guest right now. Right here, right now, like that song. You know the song. You know the song. I'm gonna bring him on. I should have hit that earlier because I found out it takes a minute for it to pop through and really get going. But here he is, Sam Mitchell. How you doing?
Hey, good to be here, man. Thanks for having me on. Found you on Facebook, and I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, man. Those Facebook groups, they're pretty all right. It's a good way to get to meet some people. I actually just posted another one right before the show started. I'm running out of guests, so I like the place. What got you to go into that group? What group was it? Do you know which group it was? Was it the Need a Guest one?
Either A, podcast anything goes, or B, podcast guest connection.
Okay, so podcast anything goes. I don't think I'm a part of that one. I'm gonna have to write that down.
It's a good one to be part of. You'll get some like once you first go, but you make some lifelong friends in that group.
That's awesome. So what got you to join those groups?
Well, I just found out through Facebook. I was recommended by my mother, if we want to grow, we should probably join some forums. I was like, okay, then join them and here we are today.
What kind of forums?
Like Facebook forums, like groups of podcasters, a podcasters club, which I'm not a part of yet, but I plan to be at some point in my life.
What's the podcasters club? If there's not one, that means you have to start it, right?
Yeah, I bet there. I'm just guessing this one because there's a club for everything at this point. There's like a tea club where you bond over tea. So I'm guessing there's one with podcasters.
Have you done the one where you bond over tea yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm not a big tea drinker, so.
What do you like to drink? I
like to drink some water mainly, but then I don't mind a pop here and there. But Dr. Pepper is probably my go-to pop.
Dr. Pepper, where are you? Are you a Mr. Pibb guy at all? Or are you straight Dr. Pepper?
It don't matter as long as it's a cherry flavored pop. It's like okay.
So then cherry Coke too?
No, I'm not a Coke guy. I'll be honest.
Not a Coke guy. So Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb is where you are.
I would say that's my style. Sprite's pretty good. I dig that too.
Yeah, Sprite's can't really mess with Sprite. Sprite's always there, always pretty consistent. And yeah, so you're on these sites and you have a podcast your own, which I think I might have a clue what the name is by something behind you.
Right here, bud. Yeah. Autism Rocks and Rolls. And the podcast itself is about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. Ran since October 2019. I've had big guests like Dr. Brandon, professional wrestler Mick Foley, any Food Network fans out there, Simon Majumdar, and have a lot of other wrestlers like Al Snow, RVD, Raven. So hopefully those are some big guests for you. But we also grown so much that we developed sponsors for the podcast and developed a nonprofit, which is Autism Rocks and Rolls Corporation, where in the nonprofit we have a board of, got a count here, give me a minute.
Sure.
I can't count today. Steve, Ryan,
It's
Angel,
a lot, I bet.
Joe, James. Six members. Hopefully be
Okay.
8 soon, hopefully. And we plan events in Indiana, which is where I'm from. So, and we try to do some here and there, but mainly Indiana in
Where are
the
you in Indiana?
southern central area. So
Is that
like,
Indianapolis area?
yeah, yep. Like that's
Okay.
it's like I'm an hour from it. My closest
Okay.
town is Bloomington, so 20 minutes from that.
Bloomington, Indiana. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I also do through the nonprofit, do motivational speaking. I've spoken in Oklahoma, Orlando, Canada, Washington, D.C. I've done some schools around here a couple of times. So that's
Where'd you go in
something.
Canada?
Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay. All right. How was that?
Well, it was fun both times. We just, because I got paid, I didn't get to stay long. So I'm hoping one day we can go there for a vacation because there was definitely a lot to do. Just, didn't have the time to do everything.
Yeah, there used to be a wrestling like there was a WWF Niagara Falls there that used to be there on the Canada side. Maybe I don't know when that closed down. I went there in 2005. But so you're a wrestling fan, so you got these wrestlers on. Did you just message them and you're like, hey, I have a sweet podcast?
Well, some was that. Mick Foley was mainly through another podcast that really liked my knowledge and just thought, oh my God, he should meet this Mick Foley guy. And I was a fan of his since 10, so they kind of made a boyhood dream come true. Then Al Snow, I also do some little, like not here and there, but pro wrestling commentating, and I got to help out with the media side. And Al Snow is going to be there. And initially, we didn't think he was going to be on. We just told him about it. Well, he graciously volunteered out of the blue nowhere, and we learned that he definitely has a story. He saved a boy in Destin, Florida from a riptide, which is actually, ironically, my favorite place to travel, Destin, Florida. And then RVD had him via Messenger. He responded because he has Facebook Messenger and checks it often. So he was very interested in that. And
how'd you reach out to RVD? What'd you say to RVD?
My script.
Approximately
was like, hey man, I'm on the autism spectrum. I know, he believes in being a nonconformist, which I believe in too. We have that like-minded belief. And he was so interested in that he came on. And cool. Raven came on through the publicist of his, and he's got a lot of personality disorders. What are they called? BPD, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and histrionic personality disorder.
Yeah, he used to wrestle in Portland when I was a kid, a whole bunch. And then I've been on some shows with him out there, and did a movie with him. Not with him. I was an extra in the movie. But if it's this movie, I don't want to say anything about it. But the movie is called Ultimate Deathmatch 3, and has Al Snow in it as well. But yeah, it's interesting. That was the first thing I ever did as far as any sort of movie or anything. But
I've had some actresses too. I've had you hear the show, and people have heard of it, some haven't. It's Sci-Fi's show Resident Alien.
I haven't seen it. No,
Oh, you need to check it out. Start from the beginning because it's going to make sense a lot more. But we're a fan of that show, and one of their actresses is a mental health advocate. So I've had the privilege of, seeing her on TV, but then getting to meet this person who was phenomenal and actually came to see me in Indy. Go figure on that. And then I'm trying to give another one. I had another actress I thought, or someone on TV. I'm just trying to remember who that was. Well, that was the person, but this one really wasn't a actress. She's played in some movies, but she runs an organization. It's amazing. I want to work with her more. Called Make a Film Foundation. Her name's Tamika Lamson, the executive director of Make a Film Foundation, where it's like Make a Wish, but with movies.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome what they do. I watched some of the movies, and it's almost like Hollywood style. They work with actors like J.K. Simmons, if I think that's the name, and Johnny Depp.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. So they get you know, cameos to come in and, you know, get to have the opportunity to do that stuff. Just hop in a movie. That's way cool.
Oh, it is. If I ever made a movie, I don't like this movie as much now because it's kind of grown out, and I, seen it on my grandparents, but I feel like I could make a ultimate Western movie.
What kind of Western movie? Like
Western action with a bunch of gunfighting.
So would this be like a Tombstone kind of movie, or like a John Wayne or Clint Eastwood kind of movie?
Kind of Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, but with more action. Definitely with some talking here and there, but like more of like you make them mad, bang, bang, bang.
Sure. Yeah. So where is that on your future?
It's
endeavor?
nowhere in the future. I was just saying it was kind of an external thought.
Yeah. What would you do? So if you were going to make that movie, who would you want in that movie?
Well, myself. And
what would you do?
Oh, the villain. Hands
You'd be
down,
the villain.
the villain. I would love to be the villain. I could be a pretty good bad guy, I think, in a movie. And then definitely have some of my, I'm trying to think of who else. And then some other guys, don't know who they would be. It'd be kind of like a 3 versus 3 almost title. Maybe that could be a title, but 3 good guys versus 3 bad guys. 3 bad guys coming in invading the town. Good guys trying to protect it, but we're so bad we can't die. There's your storyline right there.
So I mean, now you have to. The idea is there. Now you have to. I think now you're going to have to make it.
Oh, maybe. Who knows? I know my best friend, BJ Yoho, for the listeners, C1482 Identical Yet Opposites by BJ Yoho. He's big in the film. He's going to school right now for that.
So, I mean, there you go. You got someone to work with, and you can. So would you want to write it as well as be the main villain?
No, I'm not the type of person who's picky. I'm just like, all right, here's the requirements. Here's what you do. If you want to modify them, go, but this is what I demand. But if you have any other requests or want to modify the demand or the movie a little bit more, I'm okay with that. Just get the basics.
Where would you want to film it?
Any desert you can think of. Not like sand desert where you can barely walk, but like, on like a sun land, tundra, almost like New Mexico.
Have you been to New Mexico?
I have not, but I've seen it through pictures of the film series Breaking Bad.
How do you like that show?
My family loves it. Me, I like it. I don't mind watching it here and there, but it's not something I would sit down to the couch and glue on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that show is probably brought a lot of people to New Mexico. Just, I mean, you see how beautiful that place is. I was close to moving there. I was before I moved out here, but I lived in Utah before this, and I mean, Utah is kind of the same thing. It's that high desert, man, just like there in New Mexico. It's pretty cool. It's a cool climate. But so then, okay. So you got this movie is set in some desert town, and they're defending. You got someone defending. What's your way to break into the city to get past the good guys?
To get past the good guys. Well, I mean, it's easy, like every other Western movie. See, you ride in there with your horses, blazing gunfires all over the place.
So what happens when you take over the town?
Oh man, that's a good question. Well, we just take over the town, kick them out, go find your own place, and we bring our people. We bring our people in, and we try to turn it into a better town than this place was.
So does that set up for sequels, or would it be a one film series there?
It could be
Series
a
of
sequel,
one.
but my initial will probably just be one time.
All right. Okay. So let me go back to your podcast here. So your podcast, when you have guests on, what kind are you doing, like a Zoom? Are you doing phone calls or
Zoom.
like
The only rule I have is to come on the show, you have to have a story. So obviously part one of our mission is destigmatizing autism. So that if that is a factor of yours, or you're on the spectrum, you're automatically a good fit or related to the spectrum. If you're kind, that's another mission of ours, which is spreading kindness around. So if you're honestly just a nice person all year round, you're pretty much in. Or if believe in success comes in all shapes and sizes. So I believe in everyone is successful regardless of the way they think or the way they look. So if you fit that bill, in my opinion, you could come on.
Okay. And so what was the word you used that you said that you and RVD were like?
Nonconformist.
Nonconformist. So what do you see yourself as, a nonconformist?
Basically, and pardon the language here, but we don't give a shit what anyone else thinks of us. That's
Cool.
what being a nonconformist is. Like, we're like, all right, you know what? We're gonna do our own thing, regardless if it's popular or not. We're gonna make our own choices. We're gonna pick the person we want. No one's gonna boss us around unless we listen to them because they're, you know, higher than us, which is family or our boss in general. But we're gonna figure this out our way, I think. That's what being a nonconformist means to me, at least.
And that's worked pretty well for you.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I came to my mother, I told her specifically, I'm starting a podcast. It wasn't rude, like I'm starting a podcast. It was, I'm starting a podcast, because nonconformists would be like, they're doing what they wish. They want to start their life the way they choose, make their own life. And I decided to start my life with a podcast. So told her, I'm going to start a podcast. And I'm the type of person who, when I say something very serious, and you can just tell through body language and facial expressions, I'm going to do it.
So how old were you when you started it then?
The podcast or
the podcast?
Okay, podcast.
Well, yeah, how about both?
Okay.
How about both?
Well, the story kind of ties in. So my story is throughout school, and not really at home, but through school, I had a lovely family. But school, I was bullied, excluded, did all the fun stereotypings. But after sophomore year, or during sophomore year, yeah, it was during sophomore year, my apologies. I think the bear finally roared. He was kind of tired of dealing with all the exclusion, all the fun stereotyping, and he became a nonconformist, which means, all right, you know what? I'm not going to give a rat's ass of what anyone else thinks about me. So after I did that, and there are a lot of other factors, but after I did the nonconformist end of my part, I started making friends, started becoming happy, feeling better about myself, and finding true happiness. I didn't find that for 15 years. So that was a new feeling, and it's still new. And it's so weird to explain. I wish I could, but I can't. I've tried before as well. But that's when I also started the podcast kind of during sophomore year, because freshman year, when I was at my lowest, I was, lost. And we had an event in our school for my buddy who has spina bifida and can, he's wheelchair bound, but he's like me, we're like, whatever. But
just whatever.
Yeah. But anyway, these people were coming down with cameras and this cool equipment. And I thought, ooh, this looks kind of cool. So I asked my mother to, because I was basically a scared kid at the time, to go talk to them, tell you what this is about. And Scott Carmichael, who's my mentor, said, all right, listen, buddy, I think you'd be great, but there's a lot of projects going on this year. I think I'd rather prefer you to start over next year. And I was fine with that. Whatever. Okay, cool. Sure. Fast forward to sophomore year, loved it. automatically came and did the podcast, and that was an element of it. But the podcasting just like clicked, and I made good episodes. I made great interviews that got a lot of hits. And what was odd was a lot of people hate the editing part of the podcasting. I loved it.
Oh man, you'd be my best friend.
Oh, I love editing, man.
I
it
hate
takes me
it.
a long time when it's an hour, but it's like, you know what? I'm enjoying myself. I'm at my own pace. I can take a break. We're good to go. So anyway,
cool.
After I joined the podcasting, I realized junior year, I continued to join all 3 years. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to be graduating and I can't be in media club. So the only way I knew to continue my media skills or further them was to start my own podcast. And that was when
what was the one in, I'm sorry, what was one in high school?
Thundercast. It's like
so what was that just you, or were you with other people?
Other people. We all did it together. Like I would do some interviews, this other guy would do some interviews, this guy would do some other interviews. But it wasn't just me, it was a club of like very limited people, like trying to count how many people.
So
five.
Did you have like a studio for podcasting at your school?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's cool.
And I was surprised we could afford it.
Sure. I mean, I wish I would have had that. I saw that there's a TV studio by where I used to go to high school, and like maybe 5-6 years ago, they put in a podcast studio there. And yeah, man, it's crazy. So you got a podcast studio at school. You're doing this podcast. How did you leave on your last episode of, you said Thundercast?
Yeah, we kind of, well, that's kind of one together. We kind of did like, all right, old generation where the 5 of us introduced the new girl coming in, which was my senior year. And that's how we ended that. It's like, all right, we're passing the torch to you.
Yep. Giving her the rub.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so then right away you're like, okay, I'm going to start my podcast. And did you know the title right away? Where you just go, Autism Rocks and Rolls?
No, it was funny. We had to think of a lot of titles. And initially, funny fact, it was going to be my stories with traveling. But then I thought, well, shoot. The problem is I don't travel a lot. Old Scratch I do, but it's not every day of my life. So I be a limited series, in my opinion. So then I thought, what can I talk about every day? I went down the problems, went down like what I could talk about. Then I thought, oh, wait a minute, I'm on the autistic spectrum. I can talk about some problems there, some interview people with autism, comparison autism with the entertainment. And initially the title would be Inside an Autistic Brain. Well, we looked at that, boring, we thought. So then we went down the list of my hobbies. And one of my hobbies is my interests. And one of my interests is classic rock and roll music with Elvis, Chuck Berry, Nirvana, AC/DC, Nickelback are my 2 favorites. But then we went with, all right, rock and roll music. That's a great title. I think that's kind of cool to combine autism and rock and roll music. And we thought of titles. We tried rock and roll, taken from another company or something else. Rocks and roll, taken. Rock and rolls, taken. So we just added the S's. And we like did our deep research to figure, okay, is there nothing else titled Autism Rocks and Rolls? And we did, and there was nothing called Autism Rocks and Rolls. So that was our title we came up with after some deep digging.
Who is we?
My family, my mother and I, we're a team.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. So you get this, you get the name down. What's episode 1?
Well, I think, that was a hard one to do, but I thought it would be best just to introduce myself. Like, just be like, all right, here's what we're going to talk about the rest of this episode. My name's Sam, by the way. Here's my interest. Here's what school I went to. Nice meeting everybody.
Was that the whole episode?
Yeah, a whole introducing of myself. But then after that, we started getting to topics of autism, which were some of the struggles I had, which a couple examples I can give are, I had really bad anxiety. So a lot of anxiety I have. And it's kind of a surprise. I know I don't look like I do, but I have some anger issues.
Okay. And have you found ways to work with those with the anxiety and anger at all?
Anxiety, no, I still have some issues with that here and there. And anger, I would say I'm better at to a point, but I'll still like get to my limit. I
Sure.
mean,
Everyone has their limit.
it's not a hothead level, I guess,
Yeah.
but it's a mild level. It's probably like in the yellow. Like there's some who have a green where it's like higher, then there's some with red who are easily tempered, flared hotheads. I'm like the middle. I'm like, I have my limits. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, I could take so much, but when I'm done taking it, we're done.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And yeah, I mean, as long as you're, okay with where you are, and if, then that's what you set, then what can you do? That seems pretty all right there.
Yeah, and it used
So
to be red. I won't lie to you. I used to be hot-headed and temperament where one thing went wrong, I would probably be grumpy for the rest of the day.
what have you found to kind of work with that?
Well, I mean, having the limit helps. I mean, telling them, all right, I can take this much, but when we hit that limit, we're done. All right, I'm gonna basically explode. I mean, and people know that I'm on the spectrum, so I'm not trying to say it's an excuse. I've done that twice and I got ripped for it. So I'm not trying to say I have autism, deal with my anger issues. It's definitely a factor though, because it's really when communicating. That's one of my other issues is communication. Like not like speaking communication, conversing, it is an issue, entering and exiting a conversation. But an issue is communication, which I refer to as like your eye rolling, your body language, your facial expressions, gestures.
How much do you pick up? Do you pick up on those more than other people, do you think?
More than I did, but not as much anymore. The way I've learned to cope with that is I focus on the words. So you tell me, you say what you mean. Like you tell
Yeah.
me directly, I'm mad. Don't hide it from me.
Well, I mean, though, but 90% of communication is body language.
I know, and that it is a struggle, but I'm picking up on it more and more as I grow. But then there's still, I'm like, what did that mean exactly? And that's something else I've learned to do is ask. If like, okay, you just rolled your eyes, what did I do? How did I make you mad? Just tell me what I did wrong.
That's a really good idea. That's a great way to do it because, then and it's not just someone is, building resentment for you for something, but you're just like, well, hey, what did I do? What's the matter? Let's take care of this right now. Move forward.
Yeah.
So, okay. So then where were you when you thought, okay, well, was this after the TED Talk that you're going to turn the Autism Rocks and Rolls into a
No, that was
nonprofit as well?
during. So a couple people have nominated me when I was starting through the podcast. And I think after a couple times, they started to look more like the TEDx people, like, oh, he means business. I think this would be a good speaker. Talk to the lady, and they wanted me for a talk. And then with some of her other students, my mother did a unit on kids doing a TED Talk, which I thought was phenomenal with some of these young fellows, because I think at 14 years old, they have a lot of knowledge. And while kids are not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes, I'll be honest,
Okay, yeah.
there's some out there that are bright and can live out great experiences as well and handle themselves. So I think that was cool for them to see that handling themselves and kind of being an adult for once, I guess is what you call it. But
Yeah.
anyway, I was a part of that group and I was like the first one. They weren't gonna like put me through the 8th grade. It was just I was first and then 8th graders came along. My talk was about structure. So fun fact, one of my episodes, and for listeners see 111 pinball action, I did an episode on pinball, which actually is one of my special interests, I guess what you call it.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's funny though, the more I played pinball, I realized this could be someone on the spectrum right here. They're like, go, 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 go. Because that's me. I'm like, if I'm in a big environment, I'm like, all right, we got to go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. Whereas they're like, man, okay, stay here for a minute, go to the left. I'm like, I'm jumping all over the place. But the factor is, it wasn't about pinball, it's about why people on the autistic spectrum need structure. So that's why I called it soul structure.
So what kind of structures helped you?
Well, I mean, a lot of visual schedules. I think that's a big tool that is helpful. It's actually one of my favorites. And what else helped me as well with structure is routine. Now, obviously, it used to be red where I was like, all right, you need to tell me what we're doing for the rest of the day. All right. It has to be the same every day. But now I'm at the point where it's okay, I can be loose, but I still want some structure. I used to be, I need an itinerary for the day. Like at 3 o'clock, here's what we're doing. At 4:30, we're doing this. But then there's yellow where I'm like, all right, depending on what it is, I can go with the flow. But there are still some stuff in life where I'm very tedious and strict on, which happens to be the most important things in my life. So if it involves family, if it involves my education or my job at the moment, which is this, I'm very tedious and strict on it. But if it's something like for leisure, a vacation, or just something we're doing fun for the day, I'm like, all right, okay.
We're going for it. We're just going to do it when it happens, and then I can get back to what I really want to be doing, what's important to you.
Right. But we're gonna have fun for the day. I'm not gonna be like, all right, we're going at 3:30, be here on 3:30. If you're late 5 minutes, totally get it, whatever.
You were right on time with your, when you came on here this morning. I appreciate that.
I know, Fran, that's a part of my punctuality, and that's something else we can go into. A lot of those on the spectrum are very punctual. And
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about this. So according to the biggest autistic advocate out there, which is Temple Grandin, 70, what was the percentage? I can't remember. It was either 70 or 75% of people on the autism spectrum are not getting employed because the boss is scared or they're scared. And they're both scared for different reasons, lots of reasons. But I want to break that stigma because those people on the spectrum will be some of the best employees, work harder than someone who's not on the autism spectrum because they're punctual, they don't make mistakes, and they don't want to make mistakes. Sometimes they want to be at the job, which you can't get that from employees. Sometimes they're going to like, another day at Walmart. Versus someone's like, ooh, all right, you know what? For 5 days, I'm going to be pushing in carts at Walmart. Sweet.
Yeah, and I mean, like that's what I was saying. Like Monday morning, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm going to work to do this. I mean, for whatever it is, not whatever job I had, but I mean, the jobs where I'm working myself, like I'm happy to be there. Monday morning is good day right there.
Yeah,
And
you said
so
you're a hypnotist. Believe it or not, I didn't think hypnotism was real
me
until
neither.
What year was it? When did we go to? So I've been to Destin 3 times. Actually,
In Florida, you said?
yep, Destin, Florida. Best
Okay.
vacation spot ever, in my opinion.
What makes the best spot?
Oh, well, let's see. It's tropical. There's a lot, there's not a whole, it's not like overpopulated, in my opinion, like overpopulated with attractions.
Yeah.
Like you can do some stuff and come back, but it's not like you don't miss anything. It's like you don't have any thoughts like, oh man, I wish we could have done this. Oh man, I wish we could have done this after your 3rd time. Once you go, you can do everything or lots of the things you want to do there in a decent amount of time. So that's one reason. And then the food. The food there, if you love seafood, I would say the best seafood in the area.
What do you like of the seafood there? I'm up here, up in New England, so I'm getting some good seafood out here now. A lot better than I was getting in Minnesota or Utah, which are
scallops. I love scallops. So that's, if you're asking my favorite seafood, that's probably one of my favorite seafood foods.
Scallops are pretty good down there in Destin.
Oh yeah, their scallops are good. If you like mahi, it's just they can fit your preference, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, and so so down in Destin, and then before that we were saying, I didn't mean to interrupt you on that part. Do you remember?
Yeah, the hypnotism.
The hypnotism. Okay, yeah.
So
So
anyway, my point is the third time we went to a hypnotist show, just because we want to do something fun for the night. And I thought initially, okay, this is going to be fun. We're going to just watch these people get hypnotized. It doesn't work. Well, we don't care to make asses out of ourselves. We'll get on stage and go do whatever. That's the type of people my mother and I are. Well, we were hypnotized and it worked.
you went up there.
Oh, I went up there, yeah, and I was totally in a trance. I mean, I got embarrassed my mother a little bit. She won't mind if I tell this story. See, listeners, see when if I meet my mother. But what the guy did for her was she thought that she made her think she was Shania Twain, but she totally thought that she was waving to the crowd, clapping her hands during the lip sync. It was, man, I feel like a woman. She bowed after. It was definitely comical because the whole time she thought she was Shania Twain.
Did you record this?
Yeah, we recorded it, but it's in a flash drive.
Sure. Okay. But so you watched this then? You
Oh
watched
yeah,
this
we watched
back.
it after. We weren't going to initially, but after me saying some pretty funny stuff and her thinking she's Shania Twain, we were there. I mean, what's odd though is I remember the majority of the night, like me thinking that she's Shania Twain. What the heck? Me putting a band-aid on my face because I thought I was cut, or he said I thought I would bleed, but that was odd too. While I can think about it, when he touched me, it didn't seem like I was bleeding. I didn't see, oh, there's blood, huh? But I thought I had a huge cut. Like I thought he like cut my face off. I thought, geez, he just got a scalpel and cut my face. The heck happened here? And there was no scalpel. There was just a.
But I mean, because yeah, like the stage ones, I like that was the part I thought was totally just fake. But I mean, it's real. And I mean, so when you went up, there was, they had the whole crowd, and then he brings a certain amount of people up on the stage, maybe like 10, and then he tells maybe like 5 of them to go back or something like that. Is that what happened?
Not all 5. The main majority was there, but I think one person had to go back. One person
Okay.
did because
And
I think her heels were higher than him.
yeah,
So that may have been the reason, or I know you have to have the attitude of you don't care to do whatever and go make an butt out of yourself. So maybe that was the reason too. Who knows? But
yeah.
what's funny is I don't remember. I remember a lot of the night. Like, I remember doing that, but so clearly it was a rated R show. But they asked you, why were you on the Jerry Springer show? The funny thing is, though, I do not remember doing that at all.
What did you say about when you were on the Jerry Springer show?
To make my family proud for once. Go figure. I don't know. Like it was meant to be a joke, like, hey, my family's not proud of me. Haha. But it was I think they took it the wrong way. Like it didn't work. So that kind of happened.
Wait, that what didn't work?
When me saying to make my family proud for once.
Oh, when you went on the Jerry Springer show?
Yeah, I thought it'd be
Okay.
funny, but it was just a bunch of crickets.
Oh, well, that's how my comedy goes usually.
That's me sometimes, but my humor is basically like nasty bathroom
That's good stuff there.
humor.
And so how did you feel the rest of the night then after you got hypnotized?
Odd, really odd, because I remember him the majority of the night, but that one part of me saying, "Oh, make my family proud for once," no memory. And I don't remember doing that at all. And then someone had to say, "You know what you said?" I was like, "I did."
And yeah, man, and it was, yeah, I mean, you'll remember most of the stuff. You could remember everything. You could remember nothing. It's all kind of like varies between person to person. Because I mean, yeah, you can hypnotize people and they have no clue that they're hypnotized. I mean, you can every time. I mean, there's this thing called highway hypnosis, where have you ever been driving down the highway for like going on a trip somewhere, and all of a sudden you're an hour or two ahead, and you're like, where did all this time go? How did I get here? Does that ever happen to you? Or
Oh yeah, like where, like you think it's 6, and then if you look at your clock, it's 9:30.
Like that. Yeah.
Yep,
One
that's
of
happened
those.
before.
Yeah, that's highway hypnosis. I mean, so it's, you don't have to be out of it to be hypnotized, like you were saying. Like, you knew what was going on except for the just that one little part. And so you do that, okay. And then so when you went on your TED Talk, you were how old were you?
Definitely older than expected. Let me think here. 16 or 17.
Oh, so you were a kid when you went on there.
Yeah, maybe 18. I can't remember 100% sure, but definitely still in grade school, like high school ish. So
Yeah.
sophomore or
Wow.
junior.
So was this when, had you been doing the Tiger Cast yet?
The
Or no,
Thunder.
Thundercast. I'm sorry, not Tiger
Yeah, I was
Cast.
still doing it. I did Thundercast all the way up until I graduated, which was 2021. So yeah, I started Autism Rocks and Rolls junior year, still doing Thundercast while starting Autism Rocks and Rolls, while starting the TED Talk, or doing the TED Talk, to say the least.
So I mean, that seems like that's a pretty full schedule. So I mean, the having everything. Do you have like a board or something? Do you have a book or something with all your, like a day planner or something, or do you have your own system?
Well, I mean, the board is, they all have their own jobs. So when we have a president, vice president, board
Oh, I
member,
mean, I'm
and the
sorry.
book, though, you're talking about the book.
Well,
We have
no, I was
one
talking about
in the work.
scheduling.
Oh, scheduling. Yeah, I have a
Like,
calendar
okay, you have a calendar. Okay.
of like published days and all that. But I was saying with the book, yeah, we have a book coming out. I can probably spoil it. We're just trying to get
You
it
have a book coming out. Oh,
published. It's you just gotta make it fun and just edit, do some editing to it. But it's called Journey. And this girl who's on the autism spectrum, was obsessed, which we call practicing for future skills. She was more of trying to tour people while she was having flashbacks to her childhood, where she, in her childhood, was, again, when I air quote because we don't believe in this, obsessed with nature and trees. And they had to keep reminding her of, like, we don't put caterpillars on people.
so, well, what do you mean you don't believe in the word obsession?
I can get in that. So we call it practicing for future skills. So a lot of people on spectrum are fixated or special interests. Mine
Sure.
turns out to be pro wrestling. I mean, I loved it since I was 6, haven't grown it out since.
I'm
Still watch
same
Raw
way.
and SmackDown. I need to catch up on it probably soon, but still watch it, hear it, every week. And will talk about it for 24 hours, where you might be able to talk about something, your special interest, whatever that might be, for an hour, and then you might see, oh, they're not interested on it. Okay, let's move on to something they're interested in. No, we're like, why does not anyone like this? Why do they not like WrestleMania?
So, what was it when you were 6 years old that got you to watch wrestling? What was it you turned on and saw, or what happened?
Well, I didn't know the answer until I thought about it a long time ago. So I think what got me into it was the confidence. So I mean, at the time, 6 to 15, I wasn't confident. I'll admit it. I had low self-esteem. I did everything to fit in. I would do anything to fit in, even if that meant doing something wrong. And
Like
clearly,
what?
I don't do that now. Clearly, I don't do anything wrong now because I feel like I have fit in. But I would do something wrong at that time frame to fit in, which if that includes flicking a kid with a rubber band, because
Yeah.
that's what popular kids do because they're stupid sometimes. But that's something I would do so I could be part of the group. And because of those confidence I didn't have, I was kind of saved by these wrestlers who did play confidence, whether they were baby faces or heroes or heels villains. They all had one thing in common. Even though their goals were different, their characters were different, they were confident about who they were. They knew who they were, they acted who they were, and these characters you thought were real people. You thought that I did at a time frame. After I learned it was fake and they're actually just real human beings. But at a time frame when I was a kid, I thought people who play confidence, and these are interesting characters. Dang, this is a really cool show. So that's what kind of kept me into it, was that confidence level. So when other kids played, as Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, they were doing it because it was fun and they thought that they were The Undertaker. For me, it was more of, okay, I think I'm The Undertaker, but I mainly now feel confident. I can get a break from myself not feeling confident. I can play these characters so I can mask my low self-esteem.
So what was it were you able to kind of use that as, because I mean, what a good wrestling gimmick is when you can go and you can take who you are at your core and turn that up to 10, turn that up to 11, as they say. And why am I blanking on the movie right now? This is Spinal Tap. Turn it up to 11. And so that's always usually, I mean, that's 90% of the time how you're going to get the best one. And I mean, you have to be confident. If you're not confident, the fans are going to see right through it and they're going to eat you alive. And I've definitely seen some people that happen to, watching them and just not quite sure about how far they want to go with it. And the fans just, they're done. You have to be confident out there. You really do.
Here's what I noticed too, though, in the wrestling entertainment business. Some gimmicks, they're entertaining, but their wrestling's awful. You gotta be a good wrestler, but you gotta have that character too.
So, give me an example there with that one.
The Undertaker.
You don't think
he's an interesting character, but he can wrestle. He can.
Okay, he can do both.
Yeah, he can wrestle and have this cool character.
Sure.
Now, if you lack one, I think you might be able to make up for one and not be able to make up for one. So if you have the wrestling, but you don't have the character, you might be able to make it up. You might be okay. You might be. I don't know if that's the case, because I know right now Cody Rhodes, I don't know what his character is. It might just be him up 11, but I think
that's what it is. Yeah, and I mean, I think he was state champ when he's a shooter. He wrestled in high school, I think. And I think he won state, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, yeah, and if you don't have a good, gimmick or character, or you're not very good at wrestling, you should try to do whichever other one is like good as you can, and have whoever you're wrestling against make sure that they're helping you do that.
Yeah.
Like,
I also think it's vice versa, you're screwed. So if you're entertaining and you have a good character, like a pirate themed, whatever, or Adam Rose, where he did the party, I thought it was a cool character. I wanted to be a Rosebud.
Okay.
He couldn't really wrestle.
As far as what? He couldn't wrestle.
It was probably management's fault, maybe, because they didn't give him a good people like jobbers or whoever, or like local people maybe. But
yeah,
he couldn't. He got low television time. He got lots of, people knew him. Like, he hit a party foul and you're done. But with him, he just couldn't get to it. It was just, there was nothing special about his wrestling abilities.
Do you think that he wasn't connecting with the fans during the matches, or his wrestling, like what he's doing in ring, was just not entertaining?
It was entertaining, but it just wasn't anything special. The Undertaker was special because he could choke slam you, hop fly off the top rope. His was just ordinary, like, okay, I've seen this plenty of times. So
then is it wild moves like that make it entertaining for you? Or
I think if you have everything, if you can adapt to every wrestling style, because there's a lot of wrestling styles, like the dirty, the show off, high flying. The Undertaker had them all. He had the high flying, where he would
Which
fly
is-
over the top rope,
Yeah.
choke slam you. He would give you the big boot, attack you, or he could put you in a submission. If you have all in one, you're good to go.
Yeah. Well, so what if, so, I mean, do you see someone who is a good in the ring, but doesn't have a very good character?
You might be okay. You might be okay.
Do you have any examples of that?
Well, I mean, John Cena. I mean, John Cena is not one of my particular favorites. He's just not my cup of tea. But
You don't, because you don't drink tea. If he was
right, literally
your cup of Dr. Pepper, then
yeah,
maybe,
I guess what you can call it
or
that.
water.
But his issue is his character is great, and I bet it's up to him, but he can't wrestle. So that's my opinion on one of my favorites. That's kind of a poor example. So, like I say, you just need to have that character. You need to have the good wrestling abilities and the charm, I think, too, because management also has to like you.
Sure. That's a big thing. Pretty important. They're the ones, yeah. Calling some of the shots. So yeah, they better like you. And so, do you watch any old stuff at all, or are you more into what is on WWE now, or
Well,
would you
that's
go
one of my
back and
interests. I mean, I like some old television series. I'm not a movie guy in particular. I'll do some movies here and there, but
wrestling?
I'm a television series guy.
But wrestling though? You watch
Wrestling, yes,
old
some
wrestling?
television series, but there's also some just regular television series. My favorite television series includes comedy. So a lot of like Wayne to Laugh and Practical Jokers, Jackass.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that was, I mean, Jackass, that was crazy stuff. It's crazy how long ago that was. But now, yeah, they have all the episodes now on Paramount Plus, or I think probably YouTube too. But
Probably.
yeah, it's cool getting to watch those again that I haven't seen since I was in high school.
Well, I find it funny they came back, and I thought initially they would tone it down a little bit. They did not tone it down. It was the same Jackass that I saw when I first saw Jackass 2.5.
What do you remember from Jackass 2.5?
Well, I mainly remember just the interviews and the behind the scenes, and I thought that was kind of cool while they're doing certain stunts from the movies. I think they kind of carried their TV series stunts and brought them into the movie. Some, not all, but some. And that was kind of another poor example. I think Jackass 3, it was just the same. I thought they would tone it down. It would kind of be old school and be more mature. But I was wrong. They had the same old humor. They had the same dumb mindset. And there's a serious side of why I like that series. The producer, the director, Johnny Knoxville, or the group itself, while they're idiots sometimes and they do some really dumb stunts, the serious side is they seem accepting of all human beings. Like, they don't care where you came from. They don't care about your size. They don't care about your weight. They don't care about anything about how you look. You can come in. Seems like a very inclusive environment.
Yeah. And, they've always been that way. And it's interesting. This is a off topic, but I mean, I felt like, the Gen X or whatever you call, them and stuff like that. Like, it was really like, I don't care. Like, everyone's cool. Like, you're cool as long as you're cool with me. And like, and yeah, they got, anyone is inclusive if you're cool with them. And I always liked that. I think that's pretty rad and a good way to.
And I wish that we've had more groups like that, because there's a lot of people in high school, a lot of people would think if there's something wrong with them physically or mentally, you don't have a chance with them. They think that you're weird, you're idiotic, you're not worthy of being in our group. And that's not fair to determine that based on looks or
Right.
personality because you're not a nice person. It's fair to judge it on the personality, but not because they're have a difference of maybe, I don't know, sensory meltdown, something that they
Sure.
neurologically can't help. Now, they're just being mean. Yeah, I would throw them out of the group too, but not because of a physical or mental reason.
Yeah. And so, I mean, once you said once you got your confidence, when you said you were, I want to say 15 or 16, like, did that kind of change? And you're just like, I don't really need these people anyway. You're getting a lot more people that were like, you were attracting other people. And people were attracted to you in a different sense. And
Yeah,
then,
and I'm grateful that that happened. But if it didn't happen, it would have been the same thing because, in my opinion, my time frame was part of the mindset was, all right, I've waited for opportunities to socialize for 15 years. I truly have waited. I've been patient enough. I can't do it anymore. So if you're not going to give me opportunities, I'm going to take them, make them for myself, which I
sure.
did, and I made friends because of it.
And so, one more thing I wanted to get back into. So behind you, I see there is a guitar of some sort.
Yep.
Do you
Not a
play the
musician,
guitar?
it's a decoration for my studio. We just need to find time to hang it up.
Okay. All right. You don't play any music?
No, but I love listening to it. Love listening to rock and roll music. Love some country because definitely a country boy at heart. So some country music's good. I mean, I
Sure.
don't like pop. It's my least favorite, but I think some are good. I'm not going to deny it. But then I also
Yeah.
like rap and music you hear in a club. So,
You ever go to the club?
well, I'm 20.
Okay.
So not
There's some
quite there
18.
yet, but we're
Oh,
getting
okay.
there. Oh,
Getting
something I
there.
can mention is one of our sponsors is a nightclub, actually,
Yeah.
and his son is on the autism spectrum. So we had a winter concert there. So they agreed to turn their head when I kind of came in, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
kind of my first bar experience. And I'd been to like places before where they had bar, but there was also food and a restaurant. This is like my first full bar experience. But I wouldn't ask for a better first time bar experience because it was also an event at that place, Bluebird, which was the winter concert for Autism Rocks and Rolls. And what was cool was in the Midwest, we have a local rock band like Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky. It's called the Hairbangers Ball, local rock band. They go around the Midwest. And the cool part was they offered me an opportunity to sing a rock song with them, play the lead singer. And it was my song of choice was Highway to Hell by AC/DC.
Cool. All right. So you got up there. I mean, did you think 14-year-old you would have gone up there
Oh
and
no.
grabbed a
Oh no,
mic
no, no.
and
He would be like
started singing?
shaking the moment he would step on that stage and he'd be like, living easy, living free. It'd be a robot voice. But now I can add the emotion, dance around. And I tried karaoke on my favorite show, which was the Destin, and that was at my point I was low self-esteem. And that song didn't work for me, but I was also partially nervous. I didn't want to admit it, but I was afraid of getting judged for my voice. But after that confidence, I was like, all right, when it comes to performing or when it comes to having fun, screw it. The way I perform is my way. If I get booed, I get booed.
Yep. But you know what? If you get booed, that means you have people that care enough that they're booing you. If you got crickets, then you're not doing something right. If you get people that are booing you, you're doing something okay too. So
Yeah. And
I mean,
and my issue is I would automatically think, oh, I can play a wrestling villain. This is perfect. I could go like taunt and boo them back.
sure. And why not?
Why not? Let's have a little fun.
Yeah. I mean, so have you ever thought about starting an AC/DC cover band or something, or going out and maybe doing some shows, living the rock and roll lifestyle for a bit?
I thought of it here and there, but it was definitely like an idea. But I think when I got that podcast and hit that Thundercast, hit the media club, it took all over it. So my priorities have kind of changed a little bit.
Hey, and nothing wrong with that. Go with what's working. So I have one other little question. So you're in Indiana. Have you ever been to Skyline Chili?
Skyline Chili?
Yeah, they do Cincinnati chili.
Where is that at?
There's one in Indianapolis. There might be some more around Indiana, but it's
I'll look into that. I have not, I don't think, but I'll definitely take a peek at that.
It's interesting. It's not chili kind of how you think it chili, but and then I went through there I guess like 6 months ago. I drove through there and had to stop and grab some of that. But so how often are you doing your podcast, the Autism Rocks and Rolls?
Well, I do something with it every day, and that includes trying to find new guests, but then there are some days where I have to make notes or like have like somewhat of a script. I mean, I elaborate some, and some of it's like through this, but there's some of it that I will type just because I need to mention it. And then I have like days where I record and days where I need to edit. And it's not hard to balance with college, but I can manage it.
So then are you releasing like maybe a couple a week or something?
Every 13 days. So count the first published day. So like today would be a day. Let's count today as one, for example. Count 13 days from that. That's your next published day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's easy.
And it's not a published day today. I'm just making up an example.
Right. Okay. And then so I guess to bring it back here. So how are people going to listen to your podcast? How are they going to find your nonprofit? How are they going to find out? How are they going to find you? How are they going to find you? I guess
they can find my website, autismrocksandrolls.com. That's something, but I'm on your favorite media platform, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, Podbean. If you think I'm there, I'm probably there. And just Google Autism Rocks and Rolls. Something will pop up.
Beautiful. And then you can find anything you need there. So is it your website was autismrocksandrolls. You said com or .org?
Yep. .com.
.com. Okay. All right. And so man, I'm happy we got to talk and got to meet you. And maybe next time we'll talk 24 hours straight about wrestling if you wanna do that, man.
Hey, I'll be happy to do that anytime, man. I drove my parents crazy with it, so it'd be kind of nice to do it and not drive someone crazy for a while.
Sure. Yeah, man. I have another podcast. I have a wrestling podcast with a buddy, and maybe I'll get you on there. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome, man. I definitely been on a couple of wrestling podcasts, so definitely know my, knowledge of wrestling for sure.
Sure. Okay. Well, hey, Sam, man, dude, thanks, man. And I'll get this out to you and you can do whatever you want with it, man. And stay in touch. It'd be cool. And I'll get a hold of you about the wrestling podcast when I get some dates together here.
All right, dude. Sounds great.
All right, cool. Yeah. Have a good rest of your day. All right. That's what's going on. That's how we do. That was Sam Mitchell. And I guess I'm going to go and I'm going to get to go back to the share screen. We'll start this over. We'll play out with some outro music and we'll call it a day here. So, I won't say the end. I guess I say it at the very end. So I'll play this.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
And that's the show. Man.